Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Stories of Hope. I'm very pleased to welcome Oratilwe. Oratilwe is a spa owner, and as you can imagine, her business has been affected very negatively by the whole shutdown. But I've had conversations with Oratilwe over the last few weeks, and I know that she has a very positive message to share today about how she's managed to turn that around. So Oratilwe, welcome to Stories of Hope. I'm very pleased to see you. Why don't you start by telling us a bit about when we were told that we had to shut down? How did that make you feel? What was the first things that you thought that you had to take care of?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Mom, for having me. I'm hoping the story that I'm going to share will definitely bring hope. You know, when this whole lockdown issue was brought down to us, it came as at first, it was all mixed emotions, fear, and not knowing exactly where all of this thing is going to end. And, you know, it was a whole lot of mixed emotions. But as the days went by, I started then gaining some positivity and thinking, you know what, it is what it is. I cannot change it. So let me just adapt and try to see what can come out of it, actually.
Okay. So I think one of the things that obviously was immediately affected was your staff. How did you manage that? And what was the kind of conversations that you had with them? And what's your plans?
We had a meeting. The first thing that happened, when we were told, because some of them stay far, so we had to close even earlier than the actual date of the lockdown. So we had a meeting. I discussed with them and really just brought them down to, it's not a complete, it is a lockdown. We are shutting down, but you know what? It shouldn't be a lockdown of our thinking and trying to be positive as well. So we had a round table meeting. We decided that, okay, we will see how it actually goes. And then if anything comes up, then I will sort of try to bring whatever that we are able to do, because the nature of our business, obviously, they are sitting at home doing nothing, and at least I have some work to do, because it's not a thing of they have laptops or anything of that sort. So it was a thing of, you know, you said whenever I need help, we can sort of have conversations and try to come up with everything, try to get our systems in place and everything. So it was sad, but it was a reality that we actually had to discuss.
Okay. But they're all coming back once you open?
Yeah, they are definitely coming back. Only we have one that stays in Mafikeng. She comes from Mafikeng, but she obviously stays this side. She had to travel back home.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rest are still around, but we do still even keep contact to this day.
Okay. I think that's really important, is, you know, to continue that conversation and making sure that there's communication, so that people know that, you know, once lockdown is over, that you have plans. So talking about plans, tell me, what have you been up to in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been hectic for me. So for me, it was a complete turnaround of positive thoughts. I decided to block everything negative. I've decided to even block the news about COVID-19, because, you know, it's okay if I hear about it every now and then, but now I don't want to. Social media, everybody's making the situation even worse for everybody. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to listen to any of it. I will just not even concentrate on it, shut it off completely, and start doing everything else that I wasn't able to do during that. I'm actually not able to do because I've got a whole lot of things that I'm still doing. So trying to get my admin on point, systems in place, you know, trying to just plug all of those holes that I've always had. For me, it has been a blessing, really.
I'm so happy to hear that. Now, Oratilwe, I know that one of the things that you did was to reach out to your existing customers because you have a good relationship with them and offered them a special that, you know, they could use once you're out of lockdown. How was that received by your customers?
It was most of it, 90% of them, well, normally, you know, the response from WhatsApp, when I send specials, because we always run specials on a monthly. So when I sent out the specials, you know, I would get a thank you, we can't wait to come, you get that engagement. But this time, with this particular special of the lockdown, the response, the thank yous that I'm used to getting weren't as much. But I decided, you know what, it is what it is. I'm trying to save the business, even though the times are now dire. I had to do what I had to take the risk. I took the risk. They responded, some of them responded by saying thank you still, but it wasn't as much as I'm used to. But even so, even in their quietness, I guess maybe it was a thing, it came to them as a shock. But how does she send us a special when we are like struggling like this? Is she actually, the one person went as far as telling me that I'm irresponsible. And I asked them, but what do you mean by I'm irresponsible? He says, no, but you cannot be sending out a message like this. You cannot be open during this time. I said, no, I'm not open. If you can read the voucher, it says it's a voucher. You buy it now, you will redeem it later. So even in the silence, I guess the people, when they received the pamphlet, it was a shock. But now the response is completely different to what I had expected.
Okay.
It's positive. It is really positive. It shows that they will come through, even though they come through slowly.
Yeah.
But the idea is for them to actually come through at the end. So we still have some few days left, and we will see how that goes, because the idea really is to drive traffic, even if the traffic is not actually physical.
So has any of the customers taken you up on the voucher then to come after lockdown?
Yes, they have. So far, I had a few inquiries at the beginning of things, but now we have had to lock down at least 3 vouchers. We've sold 3 vouchers.
Okay.
So for me, it's a positive.
Yeah. You know, it's 3 customers. Awesome. Yeah, it's 3 customers that committed that you wouldn't have had. So well done on that. And then
definitely. And
no, go on.
Of the 3, only one of them was actually a person who followed up. The 2 that I got were the people that didn't say anything, you know.
Oh, okay.
They just, I'll look at it, and then they kept quiet. They didn't inquire. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They just called and said, you know what, we want to purchase the voucher. How do we go about it? Then that was it. So the people that actually were inquiring haven't come through yet. So that's why I still have some hope that this is going to turn out positively.
So Oratilwe, what kind of advice would you have for anybody else that is in a position where at the moment their business is closed? What would you suggest to them? What could they do, or what advice would you give?
It's difficult. You know, our situations are not the same. Our business are not run the same. And it's not easy. What could be working for me, it could just not work for the next business. But I do have an advice. The bottom line, or the foundation of all of it, is remaining positive. You know, remain positive regardless of, even if you feel it in your heart that you know, this is not going to work for me. It's really difficult. try to get that thought out of your mind. You know, push it as hard as you can. Remain positive.
Yeah.
And then it's important always, especially in these kind of times, to always remind yourself the reason why you started it anyway. So if you can always go back and remind yourself of the reason why you started, you will always pull through. Even if you pull through with just a little bit of hope, the fact of the matter remains, you are going to pull through. So also, it's important in this time that we choose carefully what we listen to, what we get into our minds, because the things that we get into our minds are the ones that actually come out. You know, it's powerful. If you have a positive mind, the positive mind will actually help you come out as a powerful person. So if you are negative, then the universe will also give you the negativity back. So it's all about trying to remain on the positive side of things rather than actually giving up, you know. It's not business as usual.
Yeah, and to focus on the things that you have control over, you know,
yes.
and to not worry about the things that you can't control.
Exactly. So it's that thing of you have to accept. It's a situation that we are in. We cannot change it.
Yeah.
So it's better. The best thing for us to do is to adapt. Just adapt to the whole situation. Find ways of going around it. It's not easy. You have to think very, very hard. So there are things that you can do, definitely. You just have to think.
I heard somebody say
harder.
Today. I heard somebody say today that, you know, this is the opportunity. In a crisis, you have a game plan. You don't start with a brand new game. You just have a game plan. You don't change your strategy. You don't change. I mean, there are businesses that could go digital. You are one of those businesses. Your business model is face-to-face, person-to-person contact. And so to just have a game plan of how you get through this, you know, and you've done absolutely that. And I think then the other thing is, as you say, is to remember that you've done this once before. You've started a business. You've run a business. Nothing has changed other than just a crisis that is stopping you from doing business for a short period of time. If you can weather the storm here, if you can look after your cash, and if you know that your staff will come back and your customers are still there, they know that you are still there, then there's nothing stopping you from, when you open that door, to immediately have customers come back in.
And it also gives your customers hope. If you are hopeful and you appear to be hopeful, they also will believe in your brand, because you are the biggest asset of yourself.
Yeah.
So you just have to come out of it. You have to force yourself to just come out of it. What I came up with today, as you know, as I'm thinking, busy doing my things, that I've decided to not be living in the now situation. I think I am so hooked up in the future. I'm already living the life after the lockdown. So if people were to think of it that way,
yes,
live as if you are living in the life after the lockdown, then you will survive. You will see yourself in it, and you will definitely want to make it happen.
Yeah. And I think, you know, what's also really interesting is I did some research to find out what kind of businesses really thrive and do well in an economic recession or an economic depression. And interestingly enough, beauty was one of the businesses that do really well, because people still, when they have some money, they want to go out and they want to make themselves feel better. So,
you know what I call it?
What do you call
Ironically, actually, I call it, we in the industry that I'm doing, hospitality services, we are the aftermath essentials. You know, the nurses are busy right now.
I love that. The aftermath essentials.
Yeah, so we are essential, but only after the math. We are the aftermath essentials. So we must definitely really be working at trying to keep positive, and because after this whole thing, we will be the most essential
Yes.
industry in the country, because people will have stress, people will have all of these things in their head, and we will be so busy.
That is a wonderful, wonderful message. And I think this is the right point for us to finish this. Thank you so much for your time. What an uplifting message. I really enjoyed chatting to you. And I'm so excited to be there, you know, on your post-corona opening. I'm looking forward to attending that.
Most definitely. I'm already there. You'll find me waiting for you.
Thank you very much, Oratilwe. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Elmarie. Thank you very, very much for having me.